Have you heard the one about how a Aztec Emperor Moctezuma gave over the golden city of Tenochtitlan to a Spanish man called Hernán Cortés, a conquistador? Allegedly, Moctezuma stepped aside, gave away everything that the Aztec people had, and destroyed an entire empire because he misbelieved Cortés was the god Quetzalcoatl. That's what the Spanish would like you to believe. That's what history would like you to believe. But it's in fact not true. So the story goes that Moctezuma heard about a white man arriving on horseback in 1519, and he believed that this was Quetzalcoatl, the god, coming to him, and that he sent him gold in order to impress him. And when this white god, who was in fact the Hernán Cortés, appeared in Tenochtitlan, that Moctezuma said, "Mi casa, su casa," and handed over the jewel in the crown of the Aztec Empire. Tenochtitlan, which sits on Lake Texcoco, which is now the site of modern-day Mexico City, was home to upwards of 300,000 residents. Now, you have to imagine, in the 1500s, that is a phenomenally large city. Moctezuma himself was an incredibly impressive emperor, having conquered many multiple hundreds of miles worth of land to expand the empire. This was an empire that was very, very rich. Gold and turquoise was seen all over Tenochtitlan. And you can imagine the Spanish conquistadors' faces when they saw this. It's written that they were given it, but in fact, we know they took it. And they took it through bloodshed. And they took it through killing a population with a disease called smallpox. The problem I have with the version that was written by the Franciscan monks in 1530s and 1540s that portray Hernán Cortés as this all-conquering godlike hero, and Hernán Cortés in his own letters back to the Spanish king portrays that Moctezuma basically, was in awe of them and just handed everything over. Makes Moctezuma seem ineffectual. An ineffective king. It takes away all of his power. It strips him back to being yet another just conquered immigrant, and that is wrong. He was an incredibly powerful, popular, sometimes brutal, but brilliant ruler of his domain, of his empire. What he built in Tenochtitlan was nothing short of one of the most incredible cities in history, and therefore it's incredibly sad that the Spanish, within a year of coming in and seeing Tenochtitlan, had actually destroyed it and simply moved on to conquer more of the South Americas. When Moctezuma actually heard about Cortés and heard that he'd already come in through Cozumel Island and that he was continuing to march forward to this place he'd heard about, Tenochtitlan, he actually set up a war room. He actually gathered intelligence. He sent people out to find out what was going on, who was working with Cortés, because Moctezuma had many enemies, and when the enemies saw Cortés, this was their chance to be able to take down the great sun god and destroy the empire that he had built, and they took that opportunity. Moctezuma did not pray to gods when they landed. He did not take advice from priests. He got intelligence. He plotted and planned, and he actually tried to set the Spaniards up. He wanted to know what his adversaries were really like. And so he sent gifts of gold. Gifts of gold. He wanted to know just how greedy were these Spaniards. Now, as somebody who lives in Spain, I want to make it very clear. I love the Spanish and I have no problem with them when they say this, but we have to be very honest. This was a Spanish thing that happened. And I've got to say, as a human being, if you are being showered with gifts of gold, I would say that would make a lot of us feel greed, wouldn't it? So again, there's no judgment cast on this, but what I am saying is it's really important to understand in history what is truth and what is propaganda and what is just rewritten to be incredibly self-serving. And that is Hernán Cortés, a very self-serving man, and somebody with not a lot of scruples at all. The real important player in all of this is La Malinche. She is a enslaved Nahua woman, and she's given to Cortés. Again, truly gross, giving over of any human being, but just handed to Cortés. Here's a woman for you. And she learns to speak Spanish incredibly quickly, and so she is able to translate. She is taken to meet Moctezuma, and she translates their meetings, and basically none of what Cortés claimed happened would have made any sense. He wouldn't have even been able to have these meetings if it wasn't for this woman. First, it's believed that this Nahua lady helped them become on a friendly basis, and that Moctezuma was happy to have the Spanish there. He was probably gathering more intelligence of them. He probably knew that you need to keep your enemies close. And so for a while, there was some form of peace with these people who'd come to visit. However, like all guests that stay far too long, it got hairy. Moctezuma was imprisoned by Cortés, and the Cuban people believed that Moctezuma was going to be overthrown, and they didn't want to see this. They actually sent troops from Cuba to Mexico to fight and get his freedom. Cortés goes off to fight these people, and he leaves Alvarez in charge of Tenochtitlan. And unfortunately, when he comes back, there have already been numerous murders of Aztec lords and leaders. Alvarez is claiming that he's uncovered plots with Moctezuma's people to free him and overthrow Cortés, murder the Spanish. And so basically Cortés has, that's it. And in the ensuing melee and fighting, Moctezuma is killed. And unfortunately, rather than take up arms against the invaders, because that's what they became, they did not become conquerors, they became invaders when they killed Moctezuma. The Aztec people just were in a stupor. They were in shock. They didn't know how to cope with it. They completely fell apart. There is tales of it, of them looking as if they had taken mushrooms and they just were in a trance-like state. The other things that saw off the Aztec Empire, because this really led to the end of the Aztec Empire, it was smallpox. The Spaniards brought that disease, and it just wiped out hundreds of thousands of innocent people. Also, there were other tribes in the area that absolutely hated the Aztecs, so they took their chance to ruin them. And finally, siege warfare. Again, tribes fighting in on each other, and the people, it just seems like the Aztec people gave up. They couldn't cope with somebody that maybe some of them did think was a god, came in and did this to them, and it just completely fell apart. Cortés used the woman he was given in order to take part in the negotiations and then spin everything for his advantage afterwards. He made it seem in his stories and the writings of the Franciscan monks that it had been his destiny to come here and conquer this people, that it was supposed to happen, and that it wasn't what really happened, which was they went in, they got greedy, they saw what they wanted, and they took it, and they destroyed a race of people along the way. Thank you for watching. If you love Histories and Mysteries, why not sign up in the box below for my cold case file that I have at the moment, which is Princes in the Tower. This is a brilliant one you can discuss with friends and family, other history mystery buffs, and why not have a dinner party chat with it? Whatever you want to use it for, it's free from me to say thank you for watching, and please subscribe and give the video a like.